Now, for more detail on the talks between Trump and Zelensky due to take place on Sunday, we are now joined by Peter Zalmayev, political commentator and director of the Eurasia Democracy Initiative. Thank you very much for joining us. Could you tell us more about what exactly the two leaders are expected to discuss on Sunday?
Well, I think that Donald Trump will continue pressing Zelensky to wrap this up quickly. It was Donald Trump's wish, you remember, to have it done by Thanksgiving. Then the deadline was pushed to Christmas. It is apparent that Donald Trump is desperate for some kind of foreign policy breakthrough to distract from these incessant string of scandals around his administration. And I don't want to cast doubt on his desire to actually reach peace in Ukraine, but I suspect that there are other motivations at play here as well that dictate the sort of speed, and the hastiness may come at the expense of the durability of any peace agreement that could be reached. And right now, we're not even talking about a peace agreement. Whatever Zelensky and Trump will be discussing is part of these exploratory talks that just preliminary to a peace agreement that will be proposed to Vladimir Putin, to the Kremlin. And so it seems like if they agree on this 20-point plan, this is not the worst deal, even though there are quite a few in Ukraine, I'll have to tell you, that consider this treason, capitulatory, etc. I think that a case could be made that this is the best sort of deal right now that Ukraine can get. If they hash it out, I think it's a huge victory for Zelensky, because Zelensky knows, I think, pretty well that Vladimir Putin is not going to sign this agreement as it is. Of these 20 plans, 20 points, there's only 2 or 3 that are crucial. One of them is the territory related one, the question of Donbass and the sovereignty over it. Also, there's the question of who will have ultimate sovereignty and control the nuclear power plant in Zaporizhia. And they are very vague in this plan, these 2 points specifically. The territory question, the question of the Donbass, remains the biggest sticking point, of course. Donald Trump, the businessman that he is, has proposed this free economic zone. No one knows who will be actually in control of this zone. What will joint sovereignty really mean? Where will the no man's land be, etc.? And once again, the biggest question overall is, what is the motivation for Vladimir Putin? What is the incentive for him to agree to something like that after 2 years ago, if you remember, he declared all these 4 oblasts, regions, including the Donbass, Luhansk, Zaporizhia, and Kherson, as part of Russia proper. So that means for him negotiating away Russian sovereign land. How does he explain it to his people? How does he explain it to his elites? It's a non-starter for Vladimir Putin, but it actually works for Zelensky. If this is accepted between the two sides, between the White House and Kiev, then the ball will be in the Kremlin's court, and it will be up for Vladimir Putin to once again find a clever way not to alienate and anger Donald Trump, who's also facing a sort of pressure with his plummeting popularity ratings and his own Republican colleagues in Congress who are agitating for stronger measures to be adopted against Ukraine, such as Senator Lindsey Graham and others who've already prepared a draft law on further sanctions on Russia.
Thank you for that analysis. There's also been talk about separate proposals for US security guarantees. Would you be able to talk a little bit more about this?
Well, once again, the minute we talk about some of these proposals, some of these points that have been obviously leaked to the press already, that in itself kind of invalidates them. And if we hope that Vladimir Putin goes along with any of these, I don't think that increases that likelihood. Kremlin does not want to be seen as negotiating from this sort of position when it's being, forced into making such concessions. The security issue is another one that is still kind of vague, because when our partners talk about promising Putin Ukraine will never be a member of NATO, and yet claiming that there's some sort of Chapter 5-like security guarantees for Ukraine. Well, I mean, I don't think there's anything Chapter 5-like other than Chapter 5 of the Charter of the North Atlantic Treaty Organization. So, and America, once again, has ruled out from the beginning that it would be sending troops on the ground. The Europeans are, I mean, you have the French and the British who might actually consider doing that once a peace agreement is reached, or at least a ceasefire. And it's not on the table. Putin has once, time and again, ruled out going along with the ceasefire suggestion, right? And once again, the Russian side has said time and again, and in Putin's latest appeal to his press conference, his Urbi and Orbi, the other day when he was addressing the Russians in a multi-hour kind of extravaganza on TV that happens every year, he's ruled out the presence of foreign troops, especially from countries from NATO, even as individual countries. He's ruled out completely the presence of such troops on Ukraine's territory. So that seems to be a non-starter as well. And in the absence of that ability to have peacekeepers from nations friendly to Ukraine, I'm just stumped to think what those security guarantees would be like. Donald Trump's word is simply not enough